welcome to our first episode of Presidential Blend. We talked about doing this for a while. We've put together some humorous content, but really what we want to do is talk to you guys about what it is about being a mortgage loan officer that we enjoy, what it is about being a customer, what you should expect, and then also we're going to talk about some real estate ideas that we may have. You know, of course, we're not realtors, we're not licensed real estate agents. We love working with them, but at the same point, I know you've got questions, and sometimes you want to go to a different source than the actual person that's doing the job. Just like real estate agents have opinions of what loan officers do, guess what? Loan officers have opinions of what realtors do as well. So we can give you unique insights into one another's career field. So I was asked, what brought me into the mortgage business? And I think it's a great question. You know, I think we all can probably round table that one a little bit. But I was in the retail automobile business for 11 years and worked a lot of hours, pretty much every day of the week, very little downtime. And I had somebody say, you know, if you're going to leave retail automotive, come to work at the bank. And I was really scratching my head about that. You know, I was in the Marine Corps and then in that industry with family, and then got into the mortgage business almost begrudgingly. And God used it to bless my life. It's been a wonderful experience. Kind of stumbled into it. I haven't met anybody yet that grew up in home, you know, and said, I want to be a mortgage loan officer when I grow up.
Well, that's definitely me. I was definitely stumbling into it because I was basically just YouTuber, you know, this whole time, and that's all I did. But I knew that real estate was my path to that retirement that I had in my mind.
Well, and it's a passion you have too.
Right,
You just
and
enjoy
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I said, look, you know, if you're enjoying it, why not just get involved with it? And so it's funny because you said, you know, God's worked it out. I know that, like, when I hear back on how all this fell into place, it's just crazy because you were already saying that you were recruiting the first half of the year, and then here I am shooting you a text. You know, like, hey, can you explain this to me? And it just like, how did that just fall into place?
Well, I think you were considering real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Loan, and I was like,
yeah, I asked you, because I actually didn't even know what you did.
You just asked me as a friend.
Yeah, I know he does real estate, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. I didn't even know there were all these moving parts in a deal. I just thought an agent, you know, just calls the bank and they just get it real quick, and the agent does all this stuff. I really thought the agent did all this heavy lifting.
Yeah, that's the perception from the outside.
Yeah, and so whenever I heard about it, you know, it's just a different schedule, different mentality, different, you know, it's a whole different workflow. And so I landed on this, and I really have enjoyed it, and I know I'm going to continue to enjoy it, and just that lighting up of a face when you explain to someone how they can make this happen. When I told someone how I'm 22, just turned 23 yesterday, and how I have got a rental property already, and I'm in another house, and like it's not as hard as you think. You may think that I'm rich, and I'm really not. I just have a really average living, I think, and I've just utilized things that a good loan officer helped me to use to my advantage. And so whenever I learned that I could do that and go on that path, and I started to tell others that you could do this, here's how you can do it, they're like, you could do that, really? I didn't know you could do that. Well, most people don't ask that you can. They just
like a light bulb moment.
They just say, just sell your house to buy the new one, or you do this, do that. And so I love it, though, and it's definitely a passion that I'm excited to get into.
Yeah. I remember Mitch, mutual friend, introduced us, and I think, what were you doing prior to? Then I want to talk about our initial conversation, because that's a great story also.
So I spent almost 20 years in the retail side of the car business. Before that,
and we didn't know each other then.
We'd never met. Yeah.
Even both working in Brunswick?
Nope. Never met.
Really?
Yes. I spent my whole career in the retail side working in Brunswick. Before that, I did the auction side.
Right. He came from the auction business into the car business on the retail side.
And then COVID happened, and I just...
How old are you? That's a lot of work.
Yeah. He looks good for his age, but we're the same age. Yeah.
So, but no, I just... the car business wasn't doing it for me anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it anymore.
It's a great learning environment, but it's hard industry.
And I stumbled in. I mean, we got introduced, and I came to lunch to have lunch with you, and it was an interview.
Right,
I didn't
right.
realize it.
Yeah.
And I was interviewing for the LOA assistant job that you had posted on
Right.
Brunswick.
What's
is
the
it?
LOA for some people they may not know?
Loan officer assistant.
Yeah, yeah,
so
good.
I was coming to work just to do paperwork.
He thought.
I thought. And at the end of the lunch, Milton said, "You're a loan officer. You just don't know."
Yeah,
it
I
yet."
said, you're not a loan officer assistant. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And he kind of looked at me. I was like, no. I mean, I think you can. Don't set your sights too low.
Yep. And never look back.
Yeah, it's been great.
The benefits of this job are creating your own freedoms. I've never had the ability to do that.
Yeah.
I had to put on my suit every day, go to the car dealership, and 6 days a week
Oh, absolutely.
from bell to bell.
I'll never forget. One day I'd take a phone call, and you called me and says, "Hey, I just passed my mortgage exam." And we had a mutual friend,
Yep,
and he says, "Call Milton." And you call and say, "Hey, I just passed the mortgage exam. I'm gonna be a mortgage loan officer." And I remember in my mind, I was like, "Oh, that's sweet."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Here's this guy.
He took his class.
Yeah, he took
Yeah,
it.
class.
And so I said, "So, you mean you took your class?" And
No, I did that already.
and I was like, well, "What do you mean you took your test?" And you told me you went. Where'd you do it at?
Well, it was.
Oh,
I
it was
did
COVID, right?
But I did it at our mutual friend's house.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And,
because it was during COVID, so they did the proxy
I
deal
did it
on the
remote.
camera. Yeah.
Hit the what's the power block mid test,
yeah.
and everything shuts off. And
Oh yeah, you thought you lost it.
yeah, I thought I'd been studying and for actually I think a couple months. So
Right.
I was a little OCD about passing it. But yeah, I had to log back in there. And fortunately, I was able. I pick up the camera was in the monitor. It wasn't just a little webcam.
It was the
So I
proxy,
had to
yeah.
pick up the heavy monitor and show them all four corners of the room, and they almost didn't let me do it. And anyways, it was.
I remember. Yeah, I remember you told me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but here I am.
But he had actually passed the mortgage, the UST, the what is it, Universal State Testing.
UST Nationals.
Yeah, it was the national. So, but he took it, and I was like, wait a minute, you've never been in the mortgage business, you got no financial background, and you passed the test. I was like, this guy, he's a pretty sharp cat. So that's none of us got in the mortgage business on purpose.
Nope.
But I love it. It's been so good to me and to my family, and I think we've all thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, let me ask you this. Another question that I get asked, and you brought this up earlier, is what's the difference between a mortgage loan officer and a realtor? Clients don't always understand that.
I literally
Yeah.
never knew. Like I literally just thought the agent did everything,
Yeah.
and that they would.
I think the bank just calls and says,
Yeah,
"Oh,
hey,
you're
call."
funded." Yeah.
I didn't even realize that there were referral partners. Like I thought that when someone said, "Hey, call my friend, so and so, they'll help you." I literally thought that. Like,
Just a friend.
It's just a friend.
Yeah.
Like that's all
Yeah.
there is to it.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get me started, but that agent's going to be working with her to make sure everything's done. And I guess
Or
if you're,
him. It can be a him
yeah,
too.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And got to be careful in
Yeah.
2024. But I just thought that like the agent did literally everything.
Sure.
And they were like, sure, they are working on your behalf,
Oh,
and they are
absolutely.
definitely calling the lender.
Yeah.
But a lot of the deals can be saved, not just because the agent, but the deals could be saved because of the lender itself. And,
Oh,
and
sure.
so that's where I really, when I got into this, I started to learn a lot more that there's a lot more moving pieces than I thought were involved. But totally different opportunities.
We really do. Realtors and loan officers, we work hand in hand.
Absolutely.
But our businesses are
Totally
are
different.
Very similar, but totally different responsibilities.
Look, they have to study the contract law. They have to be well versed in those negotiations, whereas we don't have as much expertise in that side.
No.
Right.
People
Our deal
ask-
is the money and facilitating the
money.
transaction.
Right.
But we get really deep into the customer, their financial
Absolutely.
situation, their life situation.
Like they're on trial. I think you've used that analogy before.
Hey, tell me
Yeah.
everything.
I'm your lawyer, basically.
Yeah, tell me everything. I'm
Yeah.
don't hold back.
Yeah.
Don't try to move money from this account, or don't try to take cash and put it.
Oh, man.
Tell me everything
Yeah.
before you do it. Don't go buy the car and then tell me after the fact. Don't forget
Yeah,
to tell
let's
me.
talk about it.
That's
Don't
just-
think you're going to pull a fast one on the
No.
lender, because
But,
that
and
is-
sometimes people think, oh, well, I won't tell the lender. They don't need to know. Well, guess what? 2 days from closing, when that lender goes in and pulls that credit update or soft inquiry, or what do they call it, undisclosed liabilities. There's trigger points in there, and then the lender gets notified, or the bank or the investor, and then you got a problem. And so it's just remember, don't just tell your realtor, because sometimes I'll see there'll be a relationship between maybe my realtor and the client, and they'll keep information between themselves, and I understand the thought process there. But then we find out later on, classic example, just had someone close on a home. He gave the earnest money deposit cashier's check to the realtor. No problem. They took the check. But then we had to start finding out, well, based on the loan product, the loan program, the income and the amount of earnest money deposit, it required that we source that deposit. And so we said, you know, where did the money come from for your earnest money? Oh, well, my family member gave me the money. I said, okay, no problem. We'll just treat it as a gift. We'll document the gift. Here's your gift documents. We don't need to have to get into all those details right now for a second time, but here's your gift documents. Well, they gave it back to us, but they didn't give us all the gift documents. They didn't give us the donor information that we had requested. And so we kind of bared down on that. Now we're right before closing because unfortunately the cashier's check didn't get deposited by the real estate company until, because they were holding the earnest money for whatever reason, until right before closing. So we didn't have an opportunity to source all of that. And we ended up we couldn't source it because it was cash money that they took and bought the cashier's check. So it was an issue. And apparently the client understood it was an issue, and the realtor understood that it was a challenge, but nobody shared it to us till 2 days prior to closing. And then we had a little bit of a paperwork shuffle. Closed, no problem, but the communication, it's so important. I mean, I know you guys run into it.
But it wasn't you personally needing to know where it was. It's all the loan program. I think you say it's always the government wants to know where your money's coming from.
Sure.
So, you know, we would love
FHA is a government insured loan. Yeah, basically.
So we have to, just because of the guidelines, we have to source everything. And
Yeah.
we got our little mortgage support
We've got
animal here.
a mortgage support animal sounding off. Good job, Laney.
So why do they ask for all that? It's
Yeah.
because of mortgage fraud. We have
Right.
an increase in the last 4 years
Yeah.
now of just astronomical levels of mortgage fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not asking folks to this just.
We don't want to just know. We're not
really-
nosy.
I don't want to know all your stuff,
Yeah.
but I kind of have to.
But
Yeah.
at the same
I'm forced
time,
to.
though, like to play devil's advocate, I was just in these shoes not long ago.
Yeah.
And I've learned that there's a lot of you can't do's that you can, that they like to say you can't do this.
Well, when you
can't
say
do this.
they, you're talking about another lender maybe say you can't
Right,
do
well, yeah,
this.
just in
or
general, you'll hear
just
the
on the
terminology.
internet or
You'll
a
hear,
friend.
oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
this rule says this, and even when you take your test, you
Yeah.
know, oh, this is the way it has to be done. But then you get in there and you realize that there are actually a lot more options, and that there is
And
a
there's
way
so many-
around that sometimes.
The circumstances, they really dictate
Yeah.
the flow of that file.
Right.
And they're
Yeah.
so unique.
Right.
You know, your friend at work will try to give you advice, and or maybe it'd be like a mortgage person trying to tell a realtor how to do contract law. You know, that's not my strong suit, and I really try to stay out of that lane. You know, customers
Yeah.
will ask me, I'll pre-approve them. Well, what should I offer for this house? I'm like, you've got to call your agent because legally I can't advise that,
Yeah.
and really I don't know.
They've
Yeah.
done all
You
the
know, I don't-
comps. They know the market even better than
Yeah, we don't know that part of it. So
That's the thing is there really are.
we work together.
They have their strong suits. Both of them have their
Absolutely.
strong suits.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you really should rely on your agent for a lot of things, and rely on your
yeah.
lender for a lot of things because they have
Different
their own
things.
expertise.
Yeah,
different
different
things.
things.
Yeah.
Yep.
I lean on that pretty heavily when I talk to people. Ask an expert.
Yeah.
If you got a $50,000 cash windfall out of nowhere, would you call your broke uncle and ask him what you should do with the money?
No.
You're not.
He'd
gonna
probably
ask,
want to call you and tell you what to do.
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
let me hold a little bit. That's what he'll tell you.
yeah.
Let me hold some of that.
Yeah.
But it's the same principle as asking for like marriage advice at a convenience store. You
Yeah.
find a professional. It's
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And a lot of times in those scenarios, you get what you paid for. I know there's a lot of buzz right now in the real estate market about real estate changes in commission negotiations, et cetera. Here's the deal. And I'm not going to dig into that. Just like I said, that's not our strong suit. But I can tell you this. Your high quality real estate agents, they're going to take very good care of their clients.
Yes.
the agents that are known in the market or you've met, and listen, they don't have to be experienced agents. There's high quality, brand new agents that know exactly what they're doing. They've got your best interest at heart, and that's what their brokers are for. If they don't have the answers, they go to their brokers. Same way with us. You know, there are times that I don't have all the answers as a lender, but I'll tell you what, I know exactly who to call.
That's right.
I know how to look up guidelines. Sometimes we bounce ideas off one another. Just because I've been doing the business longer than maybe Rob or Miles doesn't mean that I have all the answers. You know, that's part of our strength. Is we work as a group, as a team, and we lean on one another's expertise every day.
Or if you don't know the answer, we'll call, like that one time we called our closer to, we had a question that you had an experience before, and we all learned together. So
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the uniquenesses of being a presidential too. Is we can call. We have that person to call, and literally. Like I've got a few loans closing next week.
Right.
My processor, we're talking a few times a day. Sure, cell phone calls. It's not, hey, let's email us. No.
Right.
Hey, let's talk about this.
Right.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
something goes wrong, you can call that underwriter. Hey, what's going on with
It's
this?
such a great
That's
freedom.
an advantage that we've got, though. I mean, we know one another. We've got the underwriter on their cell number. They've got our cell number. We call if we run
It's
into
a
an
personal
issue.
thing. I know
Yes.
about their family, whatever, and not
absolutely.
just who's so and so's underwriter. Let
Yeah.
me try to get a hold of them. I don't really know them. So
maybe we should point out though, not every like mortgage brokers, they don't have that luxury of being able to call their
It is true. We're a lot closer in relationship, and I've been in a couple different mortgage companies through the years, and I can tell you that the way that we are structured to where we have one go-to person and they know how to come back to us. It's powerful. Relationships are powerful. Why do people get married? Because of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we specialize in. When a realtor calls us or a client calls us, they know that we have relationships with our operations manager. I mean, I've worked with Lori since March of 2013. Lori's been a great operations manager. She's fantastic. Todd Greek, he's the president of our group, and Todd's a phone call away. And it's that kind of support, it's that personal touch that we all have, and it's special. And you hear a lot of conflicting information out there. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because we were just on about make sure you tell your lender everything. Make sure you're honest. You're not trying to pull a fast one. It kind of can be related, I think, to a lot of politics in the world of, we've got to be honest in front of the government because if not, we can be punished for it. But how often do the politicians lie to us? How often do lenders, are lenders always being completely truthful?
That's a very, very powerful question.
How much time you got?
Because we love to say, you've got to be honest. Don't try to do anything crazy. But how often are we trying to pull a fast one on them?
I think, Mitch, you want to jump in? I mean, I think it's a powerful question, and we have customers call us all the time. They'll say, "Hey, I've just talked to XYZ broker or lender or whatever they may be, and what's your best rate?" That's the question we get all. What's your best rate?
What's the best rate?
And then we try to answer that with integrity and honesty, and talk to them about the factors that influence. Well, they just told me that I could get X rate. Well, did they tell you what the cost was for that rate? No, they didn't tell me. Did they lock that rate in? No, they didn't lock. So you ask a big question, and I'm sorry, but
in my experience, the pressure of sales creates moral quandaries for certain people. I try to operate with transparency.
absolutely.
But if you're going head to head with somebody, and like you just said, what's that best rate? Okay,
Because that's the question.
yeah, it's 5.5 today. Okay.
But to be fair, as a consumer, we think that is a legit question. It's not until I got here that I realized that question means a lot more than, because you really think that one person actually has XYZ rate and the other one actually has the other rate, and that there is no maneuverability there. And it's not until I got here that I realized, well, it's a spectrum, right? Rate can be the rate.
It's a
can
grid.
Be, the rate can be anything.
Well, it changes every day. Too.
And sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and also the quote you get is, like you said, it's not always transparent. It could be that rate may be you paying XYZ in
More
you know,
closing costs,
to
more
buy it
fees.
down.
Yeah.
And then the
So-
other one may be higher, and you may think, oh, they're in the mid sevens, they got a terrible rate, but it may involve you paying no buy down.
Exactly. What works best for your situation? So if you call some 800 number, just a mortgage lender in a box, they all they do is answer the phone. There are certain questions that a good lender is going to ask you. If you're on the phone with a good lender, you'll know by what kind of property are you looking at. Because if you just call and say, what's your best rate? Well, the best rate is attached to a single family home. It's not attached to a mobile home or manufactured home.
Or
Or
condo.
investment.
Or a condo or an investment.
home, second home.
You asked for my best rate. You didn't ask me what was going to benefit you the most.
and that's what you find out later on,
Yes, the hard way.
the hard way.
So that comes back to what's the difference between like a fee worksheet and a loan estimate.
Right.
I have so many customers that learn this the hard way.
Yeah.
They go to a big bank and they get a fee worksheet from a green loan officer.
Yeah.
Well, a fee worksheet, they're not beholden to the law at all.
No.
They could write anything. May as well give you a napkin with some scrawl on it and just.
Yeah.
Well, it's got
Good
disclaimers on it.
Yeah,
that tells you this is not. You know,
We don't charge any fees. You don't right now
Yeah.
because you're not beholden
That's just
to
how
the
they
law.
get you hooked. They get you hooked in,
Right.
and then you're already under contract, and yeah.
Or you'll see one that they're buying a $500,000 home. They're putting $200,000 down. They quote them $50 a month for homeowners insurance because they're just trying to make that payment as low as possible.
Right.
Customer sees that payment. Ooh, that's the payment that I can get from lenderinabox.com. Why is your payment so much higher, Rob? Well, I'm local to you.
Yeah.
I'm in the market. I know. I see this information come across on a regular basis. We're going to help you find, what you're looking for, but we're going to give you transparent information up front. You know, if somebody tells you something that is different than what I'm telling you, especially if it's significant, look closely because something's not right.
And we
Ask
know that,
more questions.
and we-
Sorry.
You're
yeah,
right.
yeah, you're-
Ask more questions as a consumer.
That's the thing is they don't know what questions to ask. That's
Right.
that's why they're so easily manipulated.
That's true because you don't know.
Yeah, I like I said literally a year
Yeah.
ago we just bought and I literally thought, I was told go talk to my so and so, talk to so, and I just heard.
Well,
so-
okay, let's let the rabbit out of the so to speak. I helped you buy a home or finance a home, self-employed. I told you what could be done.
right.
I think the agent you were working for working with said, well, I don't know your lender, so call mine, right? And that kind
Right,
of way.
yeah.
And I think tell us about that. You got
Yeah,
some
so I mean,
nicks?
I had just was told just in general, hey, it's good to shop rates, whatever. It's
Yeah.
good, figure out what's out there. Make
Yeah.
sure you get what's best for you.
Right.
And so I thought I was being smart by it.
Well, you even called me. Hey, do you mind if I do? I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Check.
because I didn't know it.
Right.
I just thought, okay, well, I might go so and so. They'll give me XYZ rate.
Yeah.
And so I did. I went around to 2 others, so that was 3 in total. One of them never reached out. The other one reached out and said that we just couldn't do it.
Your personal structure, it just couldn't
Yeah,
work.
it just wouldn't work. So we couldn't even get the loan. So even if I tried to explore that option, I would just get shut down.
And I think we closed about 3 weeks later.
About 3 weeks later, we closed. Yeah. So I know he likes to hear that. It's true though.
I
It's
mean,
true,
I
yeah.
wasn't, and that wasn't my setup. Okay, so that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
It's good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
What
info.
are we calling this thing? Is it presidential blend?
Yeah,
Is it,
I
We
think
just need to get a coffee.
presidential blend, right?
are we doing that? I love
think
it.
so.
Down. Just have instead of confetti, just a lot of coffee.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, yeah.
Coffee grounds just laying all over it.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Presidential Blend. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share to stay up to date with our latest content.